Northeast Texas Sports Network and Azalea Orthopedics present Northeast Texas Football, the 2023 season.
Three-point shot.
The
following is a production of the Rough Rider broadcast team, a presentation of Watlington and Shires Productions.
Hey there, Rough Rider fans. Welcome to the Rick Meeks Show. Welcome live from the pizzeria. Brought to you by Sabine State Bank. Tonight, we talk with the coach about the season tonight and about the playoffs. Pizzeria. And about something else, Mr. Watlington.
Thank you, Papa Love. Yeah, we have a lot of Rough Riders that have reached personal milestones tonight. We look forward to talking with him. But Coach Meeks himself has reached a milestone. I'm not even sure he knows about it. We're going to be talking with him and with his players here in just a minute.
So stay tuned for the Coach Rick Meeks Show.
At Sabine State Bank, you have a lot of things going for you. It's a small office, so everybody...
Sandy Cox is a good State Farm agent. Just ask Drake. He knows. State Farm agents in general are pretty cool, but Sandy Cox has the answers to your questions. Like, what's best for me, for my kids, for my business, for my farm? For all of us in Shelby County, those questions can be answered at Sandy Cox State Farm.
By the way, unless you want to get.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Rick Meeks Show. We're live from the pizzeria for the 12th time. We sure appreciate pizzeria. We're having our normal pepperoni pizza, and then this pizza. Is that yours, Shire?
Yeah, I went to the doctor today.
Yeah.
Sharon Nelson said Sharon Nelson's Rough Rider sponsor.
She is, in fact.
She says you're going to eat pizza tonight. I said yeah. I said I behave, and she said, does that mean you eat the cauliflower crust pizza? I was like, no, that means I don't eat an entire pizza.
That's behaving.
Well, I mean, just having 2 or 3 or 5 pieces is better than eating the whole pizza.
That's right.
But anyway, I decided since she said that, for Sharon Nelson, this is for you. We got us a cauliflower crust pizza.
And
give it a try.
They're pretty good, aren't they? I had one.
Oh, I did too. I didn't even realize it wasn't normal crust.
Okay.
Right. Now we stacked a little meat on there.
Yeah. I had ventured from the pepperoni to the cauliflower.
Oh,
interesting.
If you had known, would you have done it?
I probably.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a toss-up. But now that I have, I'll eat another piece.
That's right.
There you go.
That's good stuff. Well, it's good to have you guys here. It's good to have Coach here. And it's good to also have the sponsorship of Mooney's Emporium, who has been a part of every broadcast we've had for the last 2 years across all sports. Christmas time is coming close. I mean, it's already time to start shopping, and it's hard to lose at Mooney's Emporium. So many different gifts.
So anyway, Laura was wearing one of our the long sleeve shirts. We were talking about. She goes, "Man, this is so comfortable." I was like, "Yeah," because Shell picked it out and did the stuff. So I mean, it's awesome.
But is that a cue to get another one like it with a different thing on it? It's like
maybe so.
Yeah, that's a good.
We know we can do it though.
We can do it. Well, Coach, it's you did not rush over from practice tonight. You were watching some basketball. World's a little bit different right now.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Time's a little bit different. Started off season already today, and after school got to watch our girls basketball team play, and so yeah, wasn't rushing over from practice, so still in a different mind frame, but it's the next step, so it is what it is. The game didn't go the way we wanted it to Friday, and
it didn't.
and here we are.
And I asked you right before the air, did Gilmer do anything that surprised you? And you said no.
No, they didn't. We knew what we were going to get. We had a really good beat on them, and then that's what it was. You know, they didn't do anything different than what we were expecting. Same tendencies that we saw on film, they still had Friday. They executed in times of high situations, and we didn't. So there were a couple plays there, end of first quarter, start of the second quarter, that kind of, in my mind, were the backbreaker and kind of the separation point. Even though you weren't really out of it, but you kind of were. Just the way the momentum swung. And the way they kind of took control of the game. So
Right. If we'd have been doing the Dairy Queen play of the game from the Gilmer perspective, I think it would have been.
And we weren't.
No, we weren't.
So, you know,
Thank you.
we weren't.
But
Thank you.
if we had been, I mean, I thought it was, you know, we're winning. We have that crazy blocked extra point and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then they go down and score, and then don't make the 2-point conversion, and then we get the ball. We put it to them. We get a huge defensive play, and we set them up in second and forever.
Second 19.
Yes, and they run a screen pass. And,
Touchdown.
yeah, I think that really.
That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing I talked about with one of the coaches today. I mean, that was the turning point. And it's one of those things that, once again, they were in a set that is significantly a screen set, and we were going to pressure from the field because they run the screens into the boundary, and we brought pressure from the field. Our boundary defenders are supposed to be line of scrimmage defenders, because if they do pass, we're bringing pressure from the field. So if the quarterback were to get out of the pocket, we have defenders there to defend it. If they throw the screen, we have defenders there to defend it. And all of our guys pressured,
Oh, wow.
which is not what was called. And so then the screen pass goes for 79. And that was that. I agree with you. Like, I mean, I was about to say it before you finished describing every bit of it, just to see if we were on the same page.
Yeah.
But that was the turning point.
Some unusual things happen in the game. Just in all my years of watching football, I've never seen anything like the extra point.
Me neither. I didn't even know it was a rule.
Okay, I was fixing to ask. Did
But
you
the
know how it
official-
was going to come out?
No, sir.
Yeah.
But the official came over and was explaining it to me, and I played it off. I was like, I was just about to stop the game and ask y'all
Yeah.
when we were going to get our point. He said, Coach, we got it. We got it. And I said, okay, all right. I didn't even realize that was a thing.
If you didn't see that part of the game, our extra point, our kicker hasn't missed anything all year. He goes in, first extra point he hits, and that's about the last point he scored, isn't it? I don't think.
Right. Because our next ones all got blocked.
Yeah. So Gilmer
Which
comes.
still doesn't go down as a miss for him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Technically his miss is the one that hit the
Yes,
crossbar from
yes.
49.
So he was.
But those extra points being blocked do not go against him.
He
so.
tried a 49-yard field
I
goal.
think it was 50. Was it really 49? I
it
thought
was-
it was 50.
it was
Because we
49.
had asked, I said, would you trot him out for a 50? And you said, remember a couple weeks ago, I said,
Yeah.
would you trot him out for a 50? And you said, absolutely, without hesitation.
Yeah, without.
And
no.
he didn't really get it. It wasn't.
No, he
I
didn't.
didn't feel like that was his.
No,
best
he
kick.
didn't get all of his
Right.
leg in that one.
Right.
And it was just, I mean, doinked the
It would have been good for
Crossbar.
48 anyway.
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
But the extra point, they block it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the question is, what happens on an extra point? How do you score it when you score a safety on an extra point? Which I'm not even sure I knew was possible. So how did it happen? I was looking down at something, and when I looked up,
So they blocked it, and they actually had a defensive lineman pick it up to try to return it instead of just letting it be. And he fully possessed it and was running, and then tried to
He
lateral
lateraled
it.
it.
Well, on the lateral, that guy bobbled it. We went to tackle, and then the ball just starts. The bar just starts moving all around, and it gets into the end zone, and they jump on it, and then. But by then, they had possessed it, so there was a full change of possession, which now means it can bump back to a safety. So because our try was only for a point, the safety cannot be more
Right.
than the try. So that's why it's a 1-point safety.
So that's what happened, and we were like, "What just happened?" And when we were figuring it out, Shire says, "I didn't even know that was possible." And when the officials huddled, they huddled in a tight circle. I'm thinking, I think one of them got an iPhone out.
Yeah.
I think they were checking the rule book.
Well, so the question is, if say we recovered in the end zone, would that have been 2, or would we just get a 1, or do we know the answer to that question?
I don't know the answer to that.
It's just an odd thing. I've got it's older, but I've got the rule book that I carry with me ever since the Jasper fiasco.
And Jasper,
before your time.
We blocked it, returned it all the way, and got 1 point for it.
That should have been 2.
It should have been 2. Yes, it's 2 points everywhere else but Jasper. Texas.
Everybody knew that, including the fans in Jasper. But anyway, that's
But anyway, so one other thing I just want to say, we finally got to see what it felt like, because I feel like a lot of our opponents that we played this year, if they didn't get Caden, if they didn't get him, the front 7 didn't get him and get a hand on him, if he had a free run into the secondary, we strike up the fight zone.
Right.
And I really felt like we got a taste of our own medicine Friday night, because if number 11, if we didn't get him, as he was coming off, if he had a chance to accelerate, he was just gone.
Are you talking about number 1?
Oh, number 1, yeah, number 1, yeah.
Yeah, no.
is he their 100-yard dash champion?
Yeah.
Correct. Yep, 2 years in a row. We knew that. We knew we needed to be able to keep him between the tackles, because that was not something that he wanted to do. He wanted to, once he got into the line of scrimmage, he wanted to be out, or he wanted to run the stretch plays, and that was, we knew that was going to be danger for us.
Yeah, that was just impressive.
Absolutely, and he is a great player. And definitely makes them very explosive offensively.
I was so proud of you and just everybody involved with the Rough Riders in the second half.
Yeah.
41-14, then they get the ball and score again. I mean, it got worse before it got better. And then we finally scored and got the extra point block. And then we just kept scoring. I mean, there was real character and want to and intensity down the stretch. And and by the end, when you look at the scoreboard, it looked like, a pretty competitive game.
Right.
Most every other game played last night in our area was 50 or 60 something to single digits.
Right.
So our game, stood out a little bit. How did that happen? I mean, when you left the halftime room, did you have any idea that they were going to give you that kind of effort?
Well, I mean, I exactly what I told you post game is what I went in there and told them.
It's a good line.
I could just tell by their body language going in, and we're in the locker room, and I'm kind of getting a feel for them, and I just look at them and say, hey, we can go crank the buses. And they all just kind of look at me and say, we can go home. And they keep looking at me, and I'm like, guys, we have never, ever, ever worried about the scoreboard. Like that is the definition of trust the process. Be where your feet are and just keep competing. That's all that matters. So I said, we have 2 more quarters to go back out. You have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Do we have a big task in front of us? Absolutely. But that doesn't matter. That goes against everything about competing and what we're about.
Well, I had the faith. I thought we were gonna get it back. But I mean, we were down 3 scores at Dangerfield and came back. And I was like, that's what I said that night. I said we've done it before. I said, don't count these guys out. And they came out, and it was just Gilmer's too good to give them that stretch and then make it back up.
But no, absolutely. But I mean, I told him, I'm like, your body language is terrible. Like that goes against everything that you guys that are seniors now that we have coached you on for the last 3 years. It goes completely against it. Go play, and however the game finishes, it finishes. But don't go play another 2 quarters with the body language that you just came in here on, and then you've got to deal with that for however long. Like it's not going to get any better. Just go play, have fun. Play, compete, and whatever happens, happens. That's how the game was going to be anyway. So, we knew all week somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose. That's the game.
Right.
But we're for sure not going to win feeling sorry for ourselves and upset with what the situation that we're in. Well, we created that situation, so we've got to work through it, and we just got to go play. And I will say they responded in a very good way.
Yeah.
They did.
And very, very proud of them. For
When
that.
we come back, we'll talk about that response. Before we do, I want to say thank you to two of our sponsors that are sponsors of the night tonight. Dairy Queen has been a sponsor of probably every broadcast we've done.
Yep.
Back to radio days.
Yes.
And we had Dairy Queen, in fact, before that game. Thank you, Dairy Queen, for all that you do. We'll hear from you in a moment. And Wiggins Farms, our post-game sponsor, across the whole, I guess, every sport that we play this year, with maybe the exception of baseball. But even the baseball playoffs, Wiggins Farms will be our post-game sponsor. Thank you for that help to get this good word and good news out. Before we go, your milestone. We're going to talk in the next section about all the records and near records and just extraordinary individual performances. The kids couldn't be here tonight, so we'll talk about them. But before we do, you have a milestone. You are now 1-2 in the playoffs as a coach for Center. Mm-hmm. And your last loss was against Gilmer. That matches you almost exactly with a prior Rough Rider coach, F.L. Moffitt, who, he's got his name on school.
He does.
Yeah.
And he was with us about 7 years as coach, then as principal, then as superintendent. And your last game was against Gilmer. His first playoff game in 1926 was against Gilmer, and it was a loss.
Yeah.
And he would play them again and lose, and he would get one win. So there you go. You're right where you want him, on the cusp of greatness.
Well, the other thing that we need to mention, and
I've got a chance to have a school.
that's right, maybe. Yeah. We don't know which one, but maybe. But the other thing that was interesting was, and I think this was a huge compliment. So as we were setting up, the Gilmer broadcast team was out there and having, and the guys are having a discussion. They were giving us a sermon or a speech about how great Gilmer is.
Mm-hmm. They said it was a conversation.
Yeah. But at the end, they said, because they went through the whole story with trailer and everything and all that, and they said, and to me this is a great compliment, they said, look, that y'all's program looks like what ours did as we were getting ready to take off.
Right on the cusp.
And so, I mean, I think that's a good sign. I mean, they didn't have to say that. We certainly didn't.
Right.
We didn't solicit it because they didn't get any words in.
Right.
No.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we'll hear from our sponsors. We'll be back now that we'll
start with JBA.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll be back.
JBA Financial Services brings you Coach Talk, and there's a reason for that. John Black knows that when you're preparing for an important game, you need a plan, and they'd like to be a part of the details, the X's and O's of that plan. He's put together a good team, a coaching staff that would help you and your family get where they want to go. At JBA Financial Services, they're working to secure your family's future.
Father, for lunch today, I would like a salad.
Father, for lunch, I'd like one of those
no,
American
I couldn't possibly.
cheeseburgers.
I'm
Ice
a
cream,
vegetarian.
cheeseburger. That's
Oh,
what I need.
Father.
Ice cream. Oh, when everyone in your family thinks they're royalty, take them someplace where they can all get something good. Dairy Queen. Wiggins Farms. They call them the watermelon family. But the product from their farm, when the melon's just a baby, all the way through to the harvest, to your table. It's the juiciest, best melons available. Wiggins Farms, hat not included.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, it was a remarkable year here for the Coach Meeks Show live from the pizzeria, brought to you by Sabine State Bank. Because every night, even if there was a loss, we were able to talk about some really outstanding performances, and that's true here. Center Motor Company brings us our talks with our players, but they also bring us our talks about players. You said you were finishing up some stats today on players. What are some things that you know that we may very well not know?
From a milestone standpoint, Cash after Friday night is now the leading passer in terms of total yards for a quarterback. He needed 60,
Yeah.
62, something like that, and he threw for 270 the other night.
Okay.
Caden's going to come up just as the all-time touchdown leader rushing. He's going to be second behind Red by I don't know what he was short. He had 2 the other night, so I think he ends up 2 short.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Lance will go into second all-time in receiving touchdowns. He was tied with Octavius going into the game. He had 1 the other night, so he's going to be at 27 total, and Marmar will have still the lead at 28. And then Cash, he's the all-time touchdown
And it's not even
passer, and
close.
it's not even close. And he
Yeah.
had another 2 the other night. So, those guys have just competed well all year long. And then, of course, Cody, the production he's had at linebacker, the season tackle was around 147, 148, and he was right at 180 going into the game the other
Yeah,
night.
it wasn't even close.
So, I mean,
And he was sick and unable to play. That made a
Right.
difference, didn't it?
big time.
Yeah.
Big time. And one of those things, too, that was late in the week, Thursday morning exactly. And, we already were shorthanded in that position throughout the season. Halfway through the year, we moved up Easton as a freshman. And, that was by at that point in time. That was by necessity, and Easton really grew up. And by the end of the year, Easton, he's a really good player for us on defense. And now to have him and Cody back for 3 more years, Cody for 2, but Easton for 3. Just the leadership and the depth that's gonna have there. But he's really matured into a really good player.
Yeah.
But when we had to do that, it was out of necessity. So I mean, the fact that we were already shorthanded, we had to improvise a little bit from Thursday till Friday night at kickoff, and I thought Red did a really good job, but we kind of had to call our way into getting him into certain alignments because he didn't practice in that spot all week. So,
And that's a difficult offense to try and
that's tough.
improvise on defense.
Very much, because not only are they really good at it, they like we've already talked about, they're very tendency oriented. So you're not just able to read and react; you've got to recognize before the snap and know what's coming. Because if you just read and react, you're going to run yourself out of the play.
So there are other guys that, I mean, you kind of have your big 3 with your quarterback and your running back and your receiver. But there are some other guys, especially Timothy Johnson comes to mind.
Yep.
And T.J. Bellin.
Yep.
They have some statistics that most other years would be team leading. And do you know, can you remember offhand some of those supporting cast?
Yeah, I know you said Tim, but actually the other safety, Jermaine Hunter, finished the year with 104 tackles. In a lot of years, that's going to be a team leader. Tim had another 70. So between those two, 174. Now, it's not great that your 2 safeties have that many tackles, but it is good that they did make the tackles.
Yeah.
Because they are the last line of defense. And the thing about Jermaine played 4 different positions for us this year, and just it really turned into an extremely versatile player, one that completely got out of himself and into the team, because years prior he maybe would not have responded that way. But he is one that has continued to develop and continued to buy in, and it showed by the success he had this year with kickoff returns and punt returns and interceptions and fumble recoveries and 104 tackles.
Wow.
Just turned into a phenomenal player. T.J. Bellin was second behind Lance in receiving yards, and really became a home run threat for us that he could catch it anywhere on the field and score. He could be at the line of scrimmage, or we could have him vertically. Finished the year with 7 touchdowns and over 700 yards receiving. So between him and Lance, we were right at 1,800 yards. Lance went over 1,000 yards the other night. He had 142 receiving, I think, Friday night. And so the role that he started to play to be able to supplement Lance opposite and sometimes same side, but just that threat was really good. And then, as the year went on, Caleb Mosley and Grant Gregory both turned into really good defensive players for us. Outside linebacker there too that you can take from the Tatum game to the other night.
Yes.
And if you watched us every Friday or just periodically throughout the season from first game to last game, those are two guys that are really going to stand out to you in terms of growing up, doing their job, and getting better and being physical players.
Did they end up being a little further along than you might have gambled or thought in the summer? I mean, did they kind of surprise you?
Yes, and even more so after after we played probably through the North Dakota game, and it wasn't because they didn't want to or a lack of effort or attentiveness or doing what's coached of them. They just they weren't used to the speed of Friday night yet,
Sure.
and it just took a little while for them to get used to exactly how fast I've got to do my job to be able to do my job.
Yeah.
And once that started clicking for them, man, they turned into two staples for us on the defensive side.
Well, it was just a joy to be a part of something like that. It was, as an announcer, it's fun to have that to talk about.
Right.
And the more you talk about it, the more excited you get, and the more you want to go after the broadcast and go tell other people. So you find yourself in Brookshire's having to remind yourself, they're here to shop. Let them go and shop.
Yeah, they just need a dozen eggs.
Well, thank you to JBI Insurance, also a staple just like Mooney's Emporium. Every single broadcast of every single thing, including non-sports like the banquets and the concerts. We'll appreciate Joe Bill and his staff at JBI. And, of course, thanks to Pizzeria. Now we know that there is that cauliflower pizza is good. Just might do it because it is better for you. It's just better for you, Coach. So remember that.
That
Good
ought
stuff.
to buy you 2 extra pieces.
Yeah, exactly.
So when we come back, we'll hear from Center Motor. Thank you. That was our Center Motor Company player focus. They're not here, but we talked about them. And we'll visit with some sponsors about some other things. But when we come back, we'll have a look ahead at the other sports that are already underway here at Center High School. Thanks for being with us. We'll be right back.
Thought you'd seen the last of the Ford Bronco? Well, you were wrong. Ford brought the Bronco back so they could put the S in SUV. Comfort and connectivity for the highway to get you there, and then the power you need for your off-road adventure. Run at the front of the herd. Saddle up a Bronco at Center Motor Company. So many things get started at Pizzeria. You start your party off with a pizza from the Pizzeria. You get your celebration started. You get your season started. For a lot of us, our passion with pizza started at the Pizzeria, a tradition since 1960s. It's the Pizzeria just off the square in Center. Live from the Pizzeria, you're watching the Coach Rick Meeks Show, brought to you by Sabine State Bank.
All right, welcome back to the Rick Meeks Show, live here from the Pizzeria, brought to you by Sabine State Bank. It's time now, as we look at some other sports, as I swallow the last piece of delicious pepperoni pizza, because I know I've got mine over there, but I had to have at least.
That cauliflower pizza is good. I've had some, but I've been macking on my salad, so I'm going to eat some more of that coming up here.
Well, of course, we've got, our winter sports, which will begin with basketball. Like we talked about, excuse me, Coach Harrison has them out. I'll get back from Gilmer and the Gilmer game, and Coach has them out at 6 in the morning, playing basketball. Of course,
running. They had them running all over town out there at 6 o'clock in the morning.
So, obviously Coach Harrison's been the basketball coach here through, I'm not sure if it's like 6 administrations now. He came in with Coach Callahan, and then was with Kevin Goodwin, and of course Bowman, and then Ponder, and now East. I mean, he's been here a long time and is an established. And the other thing we noticed too about it is we have windows of time where we'll have like 1 year where we're kind of down a little bit, and then it's never like more than a year. It's like 1 year where we're not quite as good, and then boom, we're right back, and we stay that way. And we're kind of in the middle of that, I think, right now.
Yeah, refueling, in other words.
I think we're refueled. I mean, it's hard to say. Okay, we lost Bobo and Marmar, but I think we're going to be better this year.
Yeah, we had some great guys come off the bench last year, six man,
Yeah.
and coming off the bench. So I think we got great bench players, and there's a freshman coming up. Coach was talking about too. I think we're going to be pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Yep. And the girls too. I know the girls are playing tonight. I kind of tried to have some plans to go see the girls tonight and get that first broadcast out, but that didn't work out.
Right.
So we're going to be working on that too. But the girls are out there and they're looking very impressive. I know that they had their great season last year, and they're going to be really good. And I know Coach is excited about it because they had a game Saturday. Coach, how'd that one come out? I did not get to see. They played at Elysian Fields, if you know.
Yes,
they did.
Yeah, they won that game. I couldn't tell you the score right now. I know they won that one. They beat Rusk the Saturday before. And like I said, I was up there watching them a little while ago. They were up on Hudson 20-7 when I left.
Really?
Halfway through the second quarter. We were up 12 or so. And so we're playing really well right now. Our production from last year's team's all back. His daughter's playing really well at point guard. She's a freshman, handles the ball really well, does a really good job of distributing it to Gabby and to May and getting it inside. And so playing really well right now and playing hard. And, the boys, like y'all said, the boys got started. They do not have their first game until next Friday at White House. So the Friday after Thanksgiving, it's varsity only at White House, and then the following Tuesday, the freshman, JV, and varsity will all travel to Bullard. So they've got a little time to get some practice under them before they get rolling.
Now, early in the season here, I know that you said Rusk and some of these are some of these games already district games for the girls, or they're just on districts? We're not going to run into that until later on. I didn't know for sure how because I know it was a little bit separate. They started a little bit earlier there, but
no, they hadn't played any yet. Now they play their first one a week or two before the boys. So they start a week ahead of time. But about the middle of December is when we'll open district play with Chapel Hill, I believe.
Right, there we go.
Well, that's impressive. The Hudson program, boys and girls, is traditionally a very strong one.
Yes, sir.
And so if we come out with a victory there, I think that bodes well for the season. And of course, we had our basketball coach, ladies basketball coach, Coach Smith. He talked about that. We talked about his daughter playing point guard, and it's going to allow May not to have to bring the ball up. And I mean, I think that's just a huge deal. And
very much.
She's gonna feed Wisnet so much, and Wisnet's gonna be such a much more bigger impact just because of the way Smith's bringing the ball in.
And it'll be with both of them. When May didn't bring it down last year, Gabby did. And it really took them away from what their strengths are, and now Gabby can play the 2 or the 3 and just get set up ready to shoot.
Who's Gabby?
Wisnet.
You talking about G-Dub?
G-Dub,
I don't know who Gabby is. I know, but I know it's got G-Dub.
Well, we got to get Coach on the lingo.
put in off season, that's what that strongly correlates to the success in the next season. So
Absolutely.
obviously weights and conditioning.
Right. Unfortunately, we started that. We started that today. Um,
Right.
as bad as we hate that, but
Yes.
it's our reality, and so we got that going today, and we are big on training a faster athlete, a more explosive athlete.
Right.
Plyometrics, sprint training
Oh.
are huge for us.
Y'all have
And,
the boxes?
We do. And we have a Bluetooth chip system that the kids wear anytime we do any type of running and sprinting, to where we get readouts from them. So their mile per hour readouts, their times, to where we can track everything.
Yep.
So we're very big on recording data, ranking data, and publishing it on the board in our hallway, so our kids can see, to where they can constantly compete against their self, and they can constantly compete against their teammates to get better. So we record and rank and publish everything that we do, from running, jumping to lifting, to every bit of that. So.
Yep. But we don't have a leaper machine, do we? Do you remember those things? Did they have that when you were around? The leaper?
I'm not sure about that one.
Did you, Larry Pierce? Did you have the leaper? Did you ever do that? It was this big blue thing, and it had a kind of like a squat rack on it, and you got on it, and you had a knob that looked like a safe, like a safe, and you could crank it up and down, and you would get on it, and you would go up and down, and then Lord have mercy. I think we're still on, because I think we were using the internet. We were using the wireless anyway.
Yeah.
My gosh, see, that's what happens when it. But anyway, so you get on that thing, and Coach Harrison knew what it was, because we were talking about. But it starts revving up. It sounds like an engine. And the faster you go, and it was. When you got off that thing, you didn't want you didn't want to go. You wanted to rest for a minute.
Right.
But anyway, so I mean, obviously, so we talked about this. So you're faster, more explosive. The plyometrics is designed to have a more explosive athlete. That's something that's been around for a long time.
Right.
I think it kind of went away, but now it has come back.
Right. Well, the thing about it is, if you take the weight room, the power clean is the one lift in the weight room that is a true athletic lift.
Yes.
If you do it correctly and explosive. Now, if you're strong and don't have great form, sure, you can get the weight from the floor to a rack. You just use your back and you bend it back. But if you do the power clean correctly, it is an explosive athletic lift.
Right.
Well, from that, you take that, and how does it correlate to other things? Well, obviously plyometrics and jumping and loading and exploding and triple extension through your your toes, ankles, and your knees. Like that is part of the power clean.
Sure.
And then it's same with sprinting, and we're big on speed. We know that through our Iron Rider, our Iron Rider metric, which is a combination of your power clean, your bench, your squat max, your vertical, your 40, and your pro shuttle. We correlate those to a number, and if we can get you to 100 or higher, then you're an Iron Rider. We know if we can get X amount of Iron Riders, then we can have this type of success. We also know if we can have X amount of 20-mile-an-hour sprinters, we can have this type of success. And I'm going to tell you, strength and all that, great, but speed kills.
Yep.
You get speed on the field, and it's suffocating to the other team.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so the only way we can get there is to truly train it. It doesn't just happen because you get in the weight room and get stronger. Like you have got to work sprint mechanics, you've got to work plyometrics, and we're really big on that. So the proper type of recovery and the proper type of mechanics is big in our off-season stuff.
All right. Well, very good. I mean, that's all cool stuff. I'm interested in that. I think some of the hardcore folks are, because you just don't realize. I mean, this is where you're building your athletes to come out and their performance in the fall is largely based on what you've done in the winter and the spring.
Yes, sir.
So let's turn to our last topic of this section. And that's going to be our fall sports banquet. Is that set?
The fall sports banquet is, yes, it is. Hang on. I shouldn't do this. I'm going to pull my calendar out.
Oh, that's okay.
So
folks need to know.
We've had to split it, all right? So we're going to have two, mainly because Coach Spikes, our volleyball coach, is expecting.
Ah.
So the banquet would be Monday, January 22nd.
Okay.
That is the Monday after Martin Luther King
Okay.
holiday. So the 22nd. Well, by then she's already going to be on maternity leave. So our volleyball and cross country banquet is going to be Monday, December 18th.
Okay, that's right around the corner.
Yes, we had to move it up because she obviously wants to be there for her girls. She's got a lot of really good things to talk about. They had a lot of great achievements this year, and so she wants to be there for that, which I don't blame her. So we're going to move that up to Monday, December 18th, and then the football banquet will be Monday, January 22nd.
All right, very good. So everybody mark those in your calendars. Come out and support the folks. Do we know where it's going to be?
At the high school cafeteria.
The high school cafeteria.
Yes, sir.
All right, so that's it for this segment. We're going to hear from two of our sponsors, or three of our sponsors. Of course, Sabine State Bank, which brings you this show every week, along with McAdams Propane and Joe's Car Spa.
McAdams Propane Company is your East Texas propane provider. Josh McAdams represents the third generation of a family that has kept clean, efficient propane running to the facilities and farms of the area, as well as to the outdoor kitchens that make life fun. They also have the supplies that make an outdoor kitchen possible. Aware of the community, they have provided a luncheon for the first responders of our area. From the beautiful outdoor kitchen to the important fuel that keeps the engines running, keep your engine running with McAdams Propane in Center.
Hey, y'all got a dirty truck.
Well, then take it to Joe's Car Spa for a spa day.
At Joe's, they make 'em shine.
And they're standing by to work with the community.
They was elected best of Shelby County this year, and it's called Joe's, but it probably ought to be called Reed since Reed Grant owns it.
So, Billy Don, when it's time for your car or truck to have a spa day, where do you take it?
I don't know where.
At Sabine State Bank, you have a lot of things going for you. It's a small office, so everybody knows you by.
All right, so welcome back, folks. To our,
He's so happy for himself.
Yeah, our final segment with Coach Meeks this evening. We're going to start with something to smile about, and we just kind of, to the extent that we haven't already done it, we're going to talk about just kind of a final word on the season. My something to smile about. Look at that.
Take both pieces. Take both pieces.
Yeah, take both pieces. My something to smile about, Coach, is that you've agreed it's going to continue to be the Rick Meeks show. So, like, when we're going to take next week off, but then after that, yeah, and it probably won't be on Tuesday because basketball games are on Tuesday.
Right.
But we're going to look at either a Monday, Wednesday, or Thursday scenario, depending on when it is, when it will work best for everybody.
Right.
But what my something to smile about is you're going to step into the role of kind of host with us, and then it's going to be the Rick Meeks show with special guest Hiram Harrison. Or special guest Coach G, or special guest.
I love to put him in the hot seat.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm thinking too is we're looking at doing the game of the week here on the NetSN as well. So maybe we can have one of those coaches once a week come down and hang out with us too. Maybe some of the kids too.
We can do any of that. It can be our. We may bring Hulk Hogan here. We don't know who the special guest is going to be every week.
Mike Dickey might be around.
So I'm looking forward to that, Coach.
Yes,
because I'm going to expect you to come with some hard hitting, journalistic style questions for your coaching staff.
Right, I'm more than happy to do that.
But let's talk about for the season wide. What would be something to smile about? I mean, it's another great season in the book. It's like I think what you said I can't remember if it was last week. Said it best. We have we now have a solid foundation,
right.
And now it's time to put up the walls on this
That's
house.
Right. And that's exactly how we talk about it with the kids. And back to what we were talking about with the weight room, like you can have a great squad and a strong bench, but if you can't connect your core to your legs and your upper body, it's worthless. Like you've got to have a strong middle. So now that's what we're after. Our foundation has been built, and now we've got to orchestrate the core of it. But I'll say this, outside of that, now building off of 3 years, I will say the one thing that I think is starting to form, and after every one of our home games this year, the opposing coach either said something to me shortly after the game, or somebody like Coach Sitton at Rusk, who I talk to still weekly, still makes mention of it. But I think we're starting to develop an atmosphere at our home games that is pretty awesome with our tailgate prior, and the way that has grown, and how our kids are able to walk from the locker room through the tailgate for the Walk of Champions there.
Yep.
So they're able to walk through there. People are cheering for them. Like, our kids really, really, really enjoy that. Like, they look forward to that. They talk about it, to be able to come through there with the music playing and people are cooking and hanging out and kids are playing. I mean, it's truly a tailgate. To then get into the stands and Jesse DJing during the game, and just the atmosphere that he has created and the excitement that is starting to build. That's been fun to see this year. So I definitely smile about that, because I want our kids to experience the true what Friday nights are about, because they don't get many of them, and very few are going to get to play additionally after high school. And so that's things they're going to remember forever and always talk about it. And I want them to be able to experience that. So
now, I think it's so cool when the Purple Rain comes and starts playing.
Right. There you go.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
My something to smile about, man, guys, is just just say thanks to you guys, because this is my first full season. I kind of got to hook up with you guys last year and do this, and it's my first full season with you guys, and I get to be a little bit more into my community, get to know the coaches a little bit more, and this is what I love to do, is sports broadcasting, this kind of stuff, and bringing stuff to the community. So my thing to smile about is just happy for the kids, happy for what we've done so far this year, and I'm looking forward to just continued success here, because Coach, you called it the ranch. Now we got to start putting those stallions and studs and stuff and those hardcore animals in that ranch.
That's right.
And we're going to be all right. So Center Rough Riders, and my thumb smile of it, thank you, Dr. Wyndham, for some smile. My thumb smile is just thanks for letting me be a part of the pizzeria. We just have a blast doing this, and I think it's making everybody happy. Yeah. Great community. That's where we start.
That's right.
Sydney's getting really good at making these pizzas.
No, she is. She is.
She knows when we come in, she's ready to hook it up.
All right, so
crust is great.
Yeah, that's right. So, Coach, this will be your last time in the hot seat for until late next summer.
I'm sure we can find some hot seat action for him somewhere.
No, he's going to be dishing out the heat. No,
I'm gonna be over there.
Yeah. So we're going to give you
in that one, messing the camera
run the
up.
production seat over there. There you go.
Right.
Can't do any worse than Chris.
So, any final thoughts that you want to say is the final time in the hot seat for 2023?
No, I'm just I'm still extremely sad and excited for our seniors and what they have accomplished, the things they've been able to do, the kids that we've talked about, the foundation, being able to do something for the first time in 26 years with our wins and back-to-back seasons.
Yeah.
Just all the things that they have done, and it's happened because they bought into my vision of a program and our coaches' expectations, and they bought into it without asking questions. They just did it because they trusted somebody that they had no idea who I was. They didn't choose me. I chose to interview at Center to come here, and they just completely bought in. And for them to see it pay off the way it did is just, it's great. And so, our community should be extremely proud for those kids. And thank them for the time that they've put in, and thank them for what they've done for our community. So they have set the foundation for those behind them to continue to excel. And some really good things came out of this season. Everybody's sad when it's finished, except for one team in the whole state.
Yeah.
And so that's reality. So anyway, extremely excited for them and watching them continue to grow and succeed. And we're going to have a couple continue to play, and I can't watch to continue to support them. And just a really, really good group of kids and very fun to coach.
All right. Well, very good. That's well said, Coach. Of course, we're going to go to a break here from Wyndham Family Dental and also our monthly sponsors. We're going to have a group ad. We see all of them. But I do want to say one last time to thank you to Jeff Adams with the Adams Law Firm. Because of him being the title sponsor, we were able to bring that playoff game against Gilmore and on our normal platform, and it didn't cost viewers anything. And so,
Awesome.
So again, go call or go by. If you see Jeff, thank him for that. And because we're going to try to keep all of our center playoff games on the Net SN and not do it on NHFS, so our folks can enjoy these things at no cost.
That's great. Yeah. That is great.
So let's hear from Wyndham Family Dental. We'll be back for our final segment.
Center Rough Rider football tonight brought to you in part by Covington Lumber Supply, 3 generations and still building strong. Ace Hardware, the place for hardware in East Texas. And Brookshire Brothers. They sold their first bag of groceries when the Rough Riders ran their first play, 102 years strong.
Heavy,
Excuse me?
heavy, my mouth hurts.
What?
My tubes in my mouth.
Oh, you have a toothache.
Yes, a tubes ache.
Well, you need to take that toothache to Wyndham Family Dental. If it can be done in a big city practice, it can be done at Wyndham Family Dental.
Oh, well, thanks very much.
So many things get started at Pizzeria. You start your party off with a pizza from the pizzeria. You get your celebration started. You get your season started. For a lot of us, our passion with pizza started at the pizzeria, a tradition since 1960s. It's the Pizzeria just off the square in Center.
Gaddy's Medical Supply is your one-stop shop for all your medical supply needs.
Jack Allen, where's my ankle wrap stuff for my sore ankle?
Your ankle wrap or your Kinesio wrap?
The old guy wrap.
The ankle wrap. It's in the top bathroom drawer.
Okay, thanks.
If you are recovering from an illness or an injury, Gaddy's Medical Supply can offer you the support you'll need.
Jack Allen,
Yeah?
where did I put the raised toilet seat?
Check behind the door.
Right.
From crutches to canes to chairs, Gaddy's Medical is there for you.
Behind which door?
The hall bathroom, Dad?
Okay.
Okay, take care of yourself or someone you love with Gaddy's Medical Supply.
Thank you very much to all our sponsors. This is the last segment of the Rick Meeks Show, live from the Pizzeria, brought to you by Sabine State Bank. Thank you to our 2 primary sponsors, and thank you to Fry's Food Truck. Special occasions, look them up, give them a call, hire them. If you're going to have a company picnic or a big family picnic, shindig of any size, Fry's Food Truck.
They're out there at the Jingle and Mingle right now in the downtown square.
Really?
Yeah, they're out there. They're out there.
At the Jingle and Mingle.
And the downtown square going on right now. The Fry's Food Truck is out there right now.
You can get there right now.
Yeah.
Get your shoes on.
And go.
You'll find the Fry's Food Truck.
Yeah.
And, Larry, we have games left to do. And where will you and Don Wall be?
Let's see. Don Wall, he's going to be in Bullard bringing you the Shelbyville Cooper game on 100.5 KQBB. And then myself, I will be, me and my good new partner, Keaton. He helped me out with the Shelbyville game last week. We did a great job. And him and I are headed to Gladewater to do the Timpson Wolf City game.
Yeah.
That's where we're going to be, and that'll be on the NFHS network. That's where we'll be.
And I
You
guess
you guys are gonna
Stephen,
do the
you and I,
Shelbyville.
we'll see Don Wall there.
Yeah, y'all be on
Now
that.
both of those games are going to be on the National Federation of High Schools network, the NFHSnetwork.com. It's easy. You
Yeah.
push in NFHSnetwork.com, and
It'll
then
take you right
you
there.
pull out your credit card or
Yeah.
whatever. You have to buy a subscription, but what is this? It's still $10 for a
It's
month.
$10 or $12. It's like $12.99 a month. I think that's what I pay.
Okay,
Yeah.
for a month it's $12.99, and for one game, no, for a month, and there are so many games.
Yeah. Watch any game in the country that you want to look up, you can pretty much go watch it.
They do this in every game in the country. Yeah, just select Utah
Yeah.
and go
Find
to
the
a
team
game.
you want to go to.
Yeah,
go there.
it's not a bad
To
not
tell
a
you the
bad
truth,
product.
I get to keep up with some of the teams I used to call in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And because of the NHS network. So
That
yeah,
makes
yeah,
sense.
Yeah, that's cool.
So that's how you get to it. It's not on YouTube anymore, but the Rough Rider basketball games will be, and we hope to carry some of these banquets and the spring concert, maybe the Christmas concert. So if it's center,
Graduation?
it's usually the school
School
takes
does the
care of that on the
graduation. Okay, so
website,
yeah,
but
there you go.
they boot us out for that. But that's the plan, and we look forward to continuing the county football tradition. Shelbyville has a tough row to hoe. The Cooper Bulldogs won their district, and they're also, I think, the number 5 team in the state. I think the way it goes is like there's Beckville, and then there's Cooper, and then there's Garrison.
Yeah.
And Beckville and Garrison are playing each other. That, too, will be on the NFHS network with different announcers.
Yeah, yeah.
game of the week, right?
I mean, Garrison Beckfield is going to be one of probably the toughest ones out there, right there. So
it's going to be a good one. And then that's Shelbyville's
Shelbyville
out.
Yeah,
and
Shelbyville Cooper. Yeah,
will be a difficult out for them, but.
Hey, the way they played the game last
right.
week, last week, in case you didn't watch it, especially when you get the big lineman up front that gets the interception, that gets the big guy, and I was up and going with that one right there. So, when the big guy is. So, yeah, Shelbyville, they're fighting. They're fighting.
And the only other team in the 4 districts that make up our region, or in 2A, that pulled an upset was Wolf City in 2A Division 1. Yeah. That Timpson's drawing.
Right.
Of course, Timpson's 40-point favorites.
Right. Tenaha will also be. I don't know who's calling. I know Tenaha will be on the NFHS. I know they didn't have that on the NFHS last week. They had a local radio station there, but I understand that Tenaha will be on there for the folks to be able to watch that.
And we called the National Federation.
Yeah.
And we said we'd like to do that game.
But that was already taken.
And they said no. Maybe we'll get them next week because I expect they're going to continue to win. Larry, thank you for being here.
Thank you all for having me.
Coach, and
Go Riders.
Stephen, thank you
Go
for being
Wolves.
here. And we hope you enjoyed
Go
the Rick
Rams.
Meeks Show live from
Go
the Pizzeria.
Dragons.
Brought to you by Sabine State Bank and the backing vocals from Larry.
Go Bears.
That guy. Thanks to our players and to everybody. And a big thank you to Steve Waters and all of you guys. Tune in to the NFHS this weekend, and we won't see you next week, but we'll see you soon.
Enjoy the turkey next week.
Yeah, that's going to be good. Thanksgiving between us now and our next show. Until then, we'll see you. Enjoy your Thanksgiving.
At Sabine State Bank, you have a lot of things going for you. It's a small office, so so many things get started at Pizzeria. You start your party off with a pizza from the Pizzeria. You get your celebration started. You get your season started. For a lot of us, our passion with pizza started at the Pizzeria, a tradition since 1960s. It's the Pizzeria just off the square in Center. Three-point shot. Takes it to the house. This has been a presentation of the Rough Rider broadcast team, brought to you by Watlington and Shires Productions.